Welcome to Now English Club. I'm going to talk to you about Robert Cormier's Heroes. Obviously, you need to know heroes inside out and outside in if you want to pass your GCSE exam. Well, perhaps you don't have to know it that well, but you definitely do need to know the characters. And the main characters, obviously, Francis Joseph Cassavant. You need to know as much as possible about him. I would recommend looking at the first page. The version I've got, I'll put it up on screen, is the Puffin Teenage Fiction version. It's a bit boring going through exactly what year it was published, but it's important if you want to get the right page numbers. First published by Hamish Hamilton Limited, 1998. Published Puffin Books, 1999 as well. So that's the version I'm using anyway. But as I said, check the screen for the real details. So the first thing to note about him is the line, "I have no face." Obviously, when you go into the exam, you want to go equipped with quotations, so that's a pretty easy one to remember. Then he talks about he also lacks ears, just dangling bits of flesh, and really is a bit of a mess, for want of a better phrase. The key thing to note, I feel, is my nostrils are like two small caves. All of this on page 1. And obviously, he almost lives in a cave like a hermit because of his appearance. So I think that's one of the key things to notice about his appearance and how his appearance reflects on his character. Obviously, he's got smooth skin like a baby's backside, but there's a slightly ruder word used on page 2, which I'm not going to go into right now. The scarf is interesting because the scarf is almost romantic, and it, in fact, is white, which is, of course, the colour we associate with Nicole. Colour is really important in this novella, sometimes called a novel, but it's actually a short novel, so it's a novella, technically speaking. He wears a red socks cap. Obviously, their colours are red and white are really key colours. White representing purity, and red, blood and bloodshed, and perhaps even war. So I think you find out later, of course, the paint on the rec centre turns pink at one stage, and that represents his mixed emotions, but I'm not going to talk at length about that. As I said, it's just mainly character we're looking at on this particular vlog, because mostly you're going to be asked about character. You may well get asked questions about theme as well, but character, you've got a pretty good chance of being asked questions about character, so very important to note. Then what about Mrs. Burlando? Well, not much to say about her. She's got small black eyes. She's very suspicious when she first meets Francis, because she doesn't recognise him. Of course, she was very kind to him in the past when she made him a cake for his birthday. But yeah, so she was generous back then, and she's also generous again, but she is suspicious. So not much else to note about her. I'd say she's a bit of a gossip, as it appears later in the novella that she's talking to another elderly lady, let's say, or certainly older than Francis, about Larry LaSalle and what Larry LaSalle's got up to, which of course brings us on to Larry LaSalle. He obviously of the movie star teeth, and what else can we say about him? Well, he's clearly seems to be false in many ways, but he makes such a good impression on all of the kids, that's for sure. I'm trying to find the exact page now because I'm flipping through the book, but obviously he is a key character. So Larry is, I don't think you're going to forget about what he did to Nicole. There's no danger in that, but on the appearance, it's really important that you notice by the end he's a shell of a man, really, sitting in a rocking chair. His eyes are pale and sunk into their sockets, like in the newsreel at the Plymouth. That was when he was enjoying perhaps the zenith of his glory, but now he seems fragile. So that's right at the very end. A different sort of Larry LaSalle. Perhaps some of us might even feel sorry for him at that stage. Not all of us, because of course what he's done to Nicole is unforgivable. And when he does that to Nicole, she is portrayed as whimpering like a small animal caught and trapped. And that kind of gets across to you the that's one of the writer's ways, I think, of getting us to feel a huge amount of sympathy for Nicole after she's violated, because using the whimpering animal, a lot of us do have that affinity with animals, don't we? And I think the author there's very cleverly playing on that love of animals that we have. So yeah, while I'm saying that, I'm still looking for Larry LaSalle quotations you might want to use. When he stands before the assembled group at the rec centre, when he's actually in action, if you like, his first return home, his movie star smile is gone, replaced by grim-faced determination. But of course, again, it's quite false, because shortly after that, that's when he actually commits the violation of Nicole. So what more can I say about Larry? Obviously, the intimacy between Larry and Nicole has certainly been suggested many times throughout the novella, and no wonder he feels jealousy. Francis feels jealousy when Larry LaSalle tosses Nicole in the air, lets her fly for a moment, presses her close, their faces almost touching. This is page 42. Their lips only an inch or so from a kiss before he allows her to slip down against his body. So that is Larry a long time before the actual act of rape, which is, of course, isn't actually put in those words. But Francis obviously is motivated by revenge, and of course, one of the key things apart from revenge is glamour, and how things are not usually as glamorous as they seem, particularly war. I think really you can see the novella as an anti-war book more than anything. And well, as I said, we need to bear in mind the colours. White paint. The white paint when the rec centre is built from the remnants of Grenier Hall. Grenier Hall being the place where Marie Blanche died in her wedding gown. She was shot by a jilted man who was obviously jealous. So again, jealousy playing its part in motivation. And the white paint, as they struggle to finish the Frenchtown Rec Centre, doesn't cover the patches of mildew, which sort of suggests that you can't cover up history, no matter how hard you try to cover it with the purity represented by white paint. It's just not going to do the trick. So the Rec Centre is painted interestingly, misspelt. It's painted in bright red. So again, that kind of foreshadows all of the terrible events that are going to happen there. When he first catches sight of Larry LaSalle, this is what I finally found on page 29. This is how Francis describes it. I stood with the other kids at 9 o'clock in the June morning in front of the building. A tall, slim man stepped into view, a lock of blonde hair tumbling over his forehead, a smile that revealed dazzling movie star teeth. So, again, you've got this idea that this almost invincible figure is he's sort of telling everyone that, or really giving everyone hope of a new dawn. And then he's also very difficult to pin down in terms of what is he exactly. Larry LaSalle had the broad shoulders of an athlete and the narrow hips of a dancer. So which is he? He was both, is the response. Francis, or the narrator, doesn't ask which is he, but he certainly accepts that Larry LaSalle really is a jack of all trades. And there are doubts about him, though, because obviously Joey LeBlanc says he still beats up kids in the schoolyard, talking about Butch Bartonneau, who is a reformed schoolyard bully. And he's in fact tamed by Larry LaSalle, so almost like a lion tamer, if you like. Certainly a bully tamer. And so he can turn water into wine. He's almost a Jesus-type figure. Or perhaps you might want to call him an antichrist because of what he does later on. But if you want more of this kind of analysis, don't forget, make sure you pick up a copy of my book. I'm going to put a link on this video. And hopefully there's there are going to be a few visuals from one of my classes. I told them to do their best to visualise Nicole, Larry Lassalle, and of course Francis. Hopefully you'll enjoy their illustrations.